The Joel Embiid reports are escalating. Recently, Joel Embiid was interviewed by Maverick Carter, and in that interview, he gave a lot of great information, including what his goal in the NBA is and where he'd like to establish that goal. We're also going to look at who are the favorites to land Joel Embiid if he were to leave the 76ers. We're going to break down all of this and more today. But before we get started, guys, about 86% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers, and we could really use your support. If you like content like this, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it could really support all the great content that we're creating for you. And now, let's get started. The New York Knicks are the favorites to land Joel Embiid. You didn't misread that. That is correct. Joel Embiid to the Knicks is a possibility, according to BetOnline. According to BetOnline, the New York Knicks are the favorites to land Joel Embiid if Philadelphia trades him. And as you can see here with the odds, the New York Knicks are plus 200, 2-1 odds in order to land Joel Embiid if he were to leave Philadelphia and be traded by them. Following them are the Brooklyn Nets at 5-2, Dallas Mavericks at 7-2, New Orleans Pelicans at 9-2, and rounding out the top 5, we have the Miami Heat at 11-2. These are the teams with the best odds to land Joel Embiid if he were to be traded by the Philadelphia 76ers to another team. And as you saw there, the Knicks topped the list as the favorites to land Joel Embiid if the 76ers make him available for a trade. This is a very, very big report here, and it gives us a lot of information in regards to how the league, and of course, how Vegas sees this situation, which sometimes means a lot when you're looking and taking into stock certain reports coming out from around the league. Now, all of this stems from a recent interview with Maverick Carter and Joel Embiid at the Uninterrupted Film Festival, where Joel Embiid was interviewed, and he gave the following answer in regards to what he's looking for in the NBA and what he desires. Roll that clip.
Your brain, but what can we look forward from Joel Embiid?
I just want to win a championship. Whatever it takes. I don't know where that's going to be, whether it's in Philly or, everywhere else. I just want to have a chance to accomplish that. I want to see what it feels like to win that first one and then think about, the next one. It's not easy, but, it takes more than, one, 2, 3 years. You gotta have, good people around you. And, like myself, every single day I work hard to, be at that level so I can produce and make it happen. So,
did you hear the key line that he said? Whether that's Philadelphia or somewhere else. Joel Embiid's goal in this league, what he wants, no surprise because it's likely what most NBA players want. An NBA championship. That's the goal. That's what he wants. At the end of the day, he just wants to be an NBA champion and win that illustrious championship. And he wants to go to a team that gives him the best odds to do so. If that's Philly, cool. But if it's someplace else, that is extremely cool too. At least that's what I got out of the Joel Embiid interview. And this interview is the reason that all of these reports came out regarding Joel Embiid, trading Joel Embiid, and where Joel Embiid's next team could be. That's why all of these reports came out. It was due to this Maverick Carter interview. And as you heard right there, a key reason why is because he said the line, in Philly or someplace else. So it doesn't matter to him where he wins a championship. He just wants to win a championship. And that is why so many different teams have been mentioned and linked to Joel Embiid in the last few days. Now, it doesn't mean the 76ers are going to trade Joel Embiid. It's just very interesting to note that this offseason, one of the biggest reports and rumors heading into this offseason and now currently in the offseason is Joel Embiid and where he's going to play next season. Now, a lot of reports are indicating that regardless of what's happening right now, that he's still going to be playing with the Philadelphia 76ers next season. However, there's been a lot of reports that indicate that if the 76ers have a bad year next season and don't do what they need to do, Joel Embiid could potentially ask out and seek a trade to one of the teams on this list. To add even more gas to this fire, Steph Bondy of the New York Daily News reported the following. Joel Embiid is an ideal trade candidate for the Knicks. Embiid has been mentioned for months around the league circles as the Knicks' ideal trade candidate. Leon Rose, who served as Embiid's agent before taking over New York's front office, has accumulated a bevy of future draft picks, although some are protected and losing value, while demonstrating restraint in negotiations for stars lesser than the reigning MVP. We've seen the Knicks linked to a number of stars recently, Paul George as most recent, and they didn't trade for him because the deal didn't make sense. I think the Knicks would give up everything and more for a player like Joel Embiid, which is why Steph Bondy considers him the ideal trade target for the New York Knicks, because he believes what I believe. Joel Embiid is one of the top big men in this game. He is probably number 2, right behind Joker at number 1. That's how good Joel Embiid is and how good his play is. At the 5 spot, you can't find a center, besides Joker probably, that plays better than Joel Embiid. He's an underrated defender. He's one of the best gifted offensive big men we have seen in the game. And in today's modern NBA, he's probably the best big man in the East. And I don't think that's any argument at all. That's how good he is. The New York Knicks struggled to get any offense from their 5 spot, with Mitchell Robinson leading that charge. He was great on defense, of course he was, but on offense he was nearly invisible. If you switch out Mitch for Joel Embiid, you still get that defense, although not at that top elite level that Mitch would give you. But in terms of offense, you get such elite offense that Mitchell Robinson couldn't even hope to give you even close to 50% of what Joel Embiid could give you on offense. That's how impactful Joel Embiid is, and why the New York Knicks would look to add him and give up nearly everything to get him, because that's how important and massive a piece Joel Embiid is. But even though that's the case, I don't think Leon Rose and company would trade the farm and mortgage their team to get Joel Embiid, because they know what I know. In order to win with Joel, you need pieces around Joel. You need a bench around Joel. You need depth with Joel. So trading for Joel Embiid right now, especially with Daryl Morey, who loves to fleece teams, ask for the moon and more when he's trying to trade for stars. So clearly, with him, it's like Danny Ainge all over again. He's going to ask for way too much, and the Knicks are not going to be willing to give up that much, because the Knicks have already established they will draw a line in the sand. If a player they want, and they really want them, is too expensive and it will gut their franchise or make them worse, Leon Rose is not adding that player, regardless of how bad he wants to add that player. And Leon Rose wants to add Joel Embiid to the Knicks really bad. If he could swing Joel Embiid to the Knicks and didn't have to give up the farm, he would probably be regarded as one of the best team presidents in team history. That's how massive an addition Joel Embiid to the Knicks is. If he could somehow figure that out, he would be regarded as a top president. They would never talk about him leaving the New York Knicks. They would never talk about him being removed. He would probably be a New York Knicks president until the day he didn't want the job anymore, if he was able to swing Embiid to the Knicks without gutting this roster. And I don't know if it's possible, because Joel Embiid is an MVP player. You're talking about Daryl Morey as well too, who asked for so many assets. Those two things together, especially with the New York Knicks being a division rival, there's just so many different factors here that work against the Knicks. So while it's good to hear that the Knicks are the favorites to land Joel Embiid if he were to be traded by the Philadelphia 76ers, it's great to hear him say that he wants to win a championship regardless of if that's in Philly or someplace else. And it's also great to hear that Steph Bondy notes that the ideal candidate for a trade for the New York Knicks is Joel Embiid. So the reports, the connections, especially with the Embiid and Leon Rose, and all these other factors here, it makes a lot of sense why the New York Knicks are seen as the top place and the top location for Joel Embiid to be traded to if the 76ers make him available for a trade. There's just too many things and connections and pieces and fits that Joel Embiid adds to this New York Knicks team. So you can't ignore that. In my opinion, Joel Embiid on this Knicks team makes this Knicks team different. And depending on who you have left on this team, they could still be a contender. That's how good Joel Embiid is. If he's available, I am always looking, seeking, and finding out what it would take to swing a trade to get him. Because the New York Knicks are absolutely going to be looking at Joel Embiid if he's ever available for a trade. Because they want Joel Embiid on the Knicks. As Steph Bondy just told us, Joel is their ideal trade target. So if he's available, they are looking and they're going to give up not everything, but close to it to get him. When you're adding Joel Embiid, the goal of any trade is to get that player and pair them with your other great players so you can make a contender in your conference. If you trade Joel Embiid and gut your roster, all you're doing is getting one of the best players and surrounding him with nothing. And Joel Embiid plus nothing doesn't lead to NBA Finals. So the Knicks are going to have to be very careful if they ever want to swing a trade for Joel Embiid, because they have to make sure that they keep core pieces on the team so that way when Joel is added to the team, they can still contend. Because if you gut your roster for Joel Embiid, it's not going to help the Knicks do anything. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment below, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.